It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's like
right.
potatoes in it, right?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Art of Making. We're going to be exploring the art of making pasta, but not just any kind of pasta. For this episode, we're going to be diving deep into the southwestern waters of Italy on an island called Sardinia. And one of their traditional recipes they serve there is called
Culurgiones.
So we're going to start this off by sifting together some semolina flour and all-purpose flour. If you guys do have a double O grade white flour, that would be good. The double O grade just refers to how fine it is, and double O is one of the more finer grades. And that will just help give your pasta a more smooth texture. For the amount of pasta I'm making today, I'm just going to use 2 cups of flour because we're going to be making a lot for everyone else in the office as well to eat. And next up, we're just going to add the semolina flour on top of that. Traditionally, this semolina dough often uses flour. You guys can make this with water if you'd like, but the traditional way is with egg. So just before we begin, you can just use your hands and press and make like a little well here. Just a little bowl for the eggs. And for this amount of flour, I'm going to be using 6 whole eggs. And we're just going to start by beating the eggs together before we begin incorporating the flour. And that's pretty good. And I'm just adding about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a pinch of salt. And at this point, you can start slowly incorporating in the flour into the egg. And it should slowly start to thicken up as it takes in the flour. Once it starts to get a little clumpy, you can just use your hands, mix it all together. Now, if your dough mixture at this point ever starts to get too sticky, you should probably add just a little bit of semolina flour at a time, just to reduce the stickiness. But you're looking for a really smooth texture, and you'll be kneading the dough for approximately 8 to 12 minutes. So if your dough does get a little too dry like mine did, might be due to like not enough olive oil or the eggs weren't the correct size. All you have to do is just add a little bit of water. And after about 12 minutes, it should come together somewhat like this. We're gonna wrap this in plastic wrap and make sure it's really airtight. And this will just allow the gluten to rest a bit and it'll be easier to work with. And we'll be back in 30 minutes. And next up, we're gonna be trying to make the potato filling. Just a regular bag of russet potatoes. We're gonna peel these and dice them up, and we're gonna start boiling them. And please note that when you're cutting and peeling the potatoes, you kind of want to dice them evenly. So this is just to make it cook more evenly when we actually boil it. And we're just gonna give them a quick rinse. Now we just fill it up so it can go above the potatoes. And that should be good. And the potatoes, depending on how small you dice them, it should take roughly 10 minutes at most to cook them. And you can always check by just stabbing the potato with a little toothpick. And if it comes out soft, it's all good. So we're just going to take these out and we're gonna mash them up. Just gotta make sure this is really smooth and we don't wanna bite into the pasta and feel any potato chunks. I'm going to be using pecorino romano cheese. And the word pecorino derives from pecora, which means sheep in Italian. And we're just gonna grate approximately 50 grams. And next, we're going to be adding a bit of chopped mint to this. Close to 12 to 15 mint leaves. And of course, if you guys do like a mintier filling, you can always add more leaves. And we're just gonna transfer this into the potato. And lastly, we're gonna be adding Sardinia's red gold, the saffron. And this has a really strong taste actually, so you don't wanna put too much. And now we just mix it all together. It's been well over 30 minutes and it should have moisturized enough. It's a little more soft and it'll be easier to roll. We're just gonna start by cutting out a portion of the dough. And it looks like this on the inside. And store the piece that you're not using in the bag. Before you start, you're also gonna need a little bit of flour. just so pasta doesn't stick to the table. And before you actually use the dough to make the shapes, we're actually gonna fold it in on itself a few times just to smooth out the dough. Cool pasta fact, by the way, they didn't actually have any pasta machines until 18th century. And the guy who actually invented the first pasta machine was Cesare Spadaccini. I think it was under the king's request to make a machine that could mimic human pasta making actions. This is what they went through up until the 18th century. So we're gonna start shaping this out into like a nice long strip, and we're gonna cut it out. I'm gonna be using a cookie cutter about this size. You're gonna put it so that it overflows when you squeeze it closed, and that way there'll be no air and this won't be wrinkly and it'll be really full. So we're just gonna use a fork and scoop in a nice amount of potato filling. And you're gonna start this by making like a little potato taco, and you're gonna pinch one end, you're gonna rotate and alternate from one side to the other side. And it's totally okay if some of the potato comes out, because you can always just put that back into the bowl. Now this is actually a really hard technique to do. The Sardinians haven't mastered this. The pattern should look almost like a wheat plant. So after we're done making all the culurgiones, we're gonna make the classic pasta sauce, but in the meantime, cover your pasta with a damp cloth. And to start off our tomato sauce, we're just gonna be using some fresh garlic. For this one, I'm gonna be using 2 cloves garlic. And if you guys have trouble peeling the garlic, here's a little trick for you guys. So just take a single clove and put the base of your knife there and just give it a little hit. And the peel should just come off. And we're just gonna finely mince the garlic. And when that is ready, we're just gonna add in the olive oil to the pan. Please do make sure that if you are using olive oil, do not go above medium heat because it'll start smoking. And I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And once the oil is hot enough, you can add in your minced garlic. And just very gently roast the garlic. You just want to infuse the oil with the flavor. You don't want to overcook the garlic. And about this texture is pretty good. It's just before it starts to crisp up. And this is where I would just add in our tomato sauce. And you just want to stir in that oil, infused garlic, and all the garlic pieces as well. So we've boiled this tomato sauce for about 20 minutes now, and I think it's very nice and smooth. Has that nice roasted garlic flavor. And so we're just gonna set this off to the side. We're going to prepare the water for the culurgiones. Got a new pot of fresh water here. This is gonna look a little crazy to some people because it's a lot of salt. Only a little bit of salt actually gets infused into the pasta itself, and most of the salt comes back in the water, so don't worry about it tasting too salty. Now that our salt water solution has started to boil, that means it's a good sign to add in our pasta. Unfold them right here. Like most fresh pastas, you only need to cook them for maybe 1 to 2 minutes as they're boiling. And also because we already cooked the potatoes earlier, and we just set them in. Just got a handful at a time. And directly into the sauce mixture. Gonna carefully stir it together, mix in all the sauce, and make sure not to puncture any of the potato filling. And the thing I like the most about this pasta, it has that cool, almost zipper pattern, and the locals call it like a wheat flour. I'm gonna let those steam in there for a little bit. We just serve it as is, just with the sauce, and we put a little bit of the Romano cheese on top. So just get a few of these in there. And here we have the final result of my homemade culurgiones. I still don't know how to pronounce it, but it smells really delicious, and I think there's only one thing left to do. I'm gonna give it a taste test. I'm so excited to try the potato filling. Ooh, look at that. Look at the filling on the inside. It's nice and full, using their special technique of folding it over. I like the color on that. Let's give it a try. This is really good. You'd think a potato-filled pasta would taste really carby. I don't know what the secret is, but something with the saffron and the mint leaves, something complements each other really well, and it doesn't really taste that carby. It tastes like almost like a creamy filling, and the red pasta sauce goes with it so well. I'm gonna get someone to try this. This is really good.
Is that chicken? Yo, that's good. Yo, that's actually good. Oh, that's actually really good. Oh yeah, this is really good. Oh, that's really good.